challenges. Whether it's advocating for civil rights in the last century or stepping up to help tornado victims in this century. Compared to those challenges, our personal charge this time is much simpler. We have to stay at home. If we do this, I know we can come out on the other side even stronger. Currently, we're fighting against an unknown enemy, and we're fighting for our lives and our livelihoods. From the bottom of my heart, I would like to thank the healthcare professionals and our first responders. You're bravely taking care of us on the front lines every single day. You've taken care of us today, completely aware that things will get worse in the next few weeks. I can't thank you enough. To all the essential employees, our grocery store workers, our own City of Jackson employees, thank you for continuing to serve and provide for us. To the small business owners who have had to close, and to those who have lost their jobs, you are not forgotten. Just know that I will use all the resources available to me to fight for you during our economic recovery. It's in times like these we look to our leaders. In times like these, that burden of leadership is great. And in times like these, we need decisive leadership. And while I commend the governor for his actions yesterday, it's simply not enough to keep our city safe. So that leadership burden falls back onto the local leaders. As we stand here today, I honestly can't say how much I appreciate Mayor Harris for his leadership during this unprecedented time. And honestly, there's no one I'd rather be on the front lines of this with. Thank you, Mayor Harris. And so today I'm issuing Executive Order 2020-06. I will spare you all the whereases beforehand. Item 1 under the order, shelter at home. All individuals currently living in the City of Jackson are ordered to shelter at their place of residence unless otherwise exempted as outlined in this order. For purposes of this order, residents include hotels, motels, shared rental units, and similar facilities. To the extent individuals are using shared outdoor space, they must at all times reasonably possibly maintain social distancing of at least 6 feet from any other person when they are outside their residence. All persons may leave their residence only for life-sustaining activities, essential government functions, or to operate life-sustaining service businesses as defined in this order. Individuals experiencing homelessness are exempt from this section, but are strongly urged to obtain shelter, and governmental and other entities are strongly urged to make such shelter available. Individuals whose residents are unsafe, become unsafe, such as victims of domestic violence, are permitted and urged to leave home and stay at a safe alternative location and contact law enforcement. Number 2, only life-sustaining businesses may remain open. All businesses that are not life-sustaining shall cease operations effective Sunday, April 5th at 12:01 a.m., except as needed to conduct minimum basic operations as defined in this order. For the purposes of this order, life-sustaining businesses are all businesses that allow citizens to remain safer at home, including the list of critical infrastructure sectors, which you can find on our website and on the critical infrastructure website. Life-sustaining retail, in-person retail businesses that provide life-sustaining goods, as well as businesses that supply life-sustaining retail and their administrative support operations. In addition, the following categories of retail are designated as life-sustaining under this order: hardware stores and businesses that sell electrical, plumbing, and heating material, agricultural supply and equipment stores, medical product supply and equipment stores, and stores that supply first responders and other critical government and healthcare workers. The life-sustaining retail stores listed above shall follow the guidelines for grocers and retail in paragraph 4. Food, beverage, and agriculture. Food and beverage manufacturing, production, processing, and cultivation, including farming, livestock, fishing, baking, and other production and agriculture, including cultivation, marketing, production, and distribution of animals and goods for consumption, and businesses that provide food, shelter, and other necessities of life for animals. Organizations that provide charitable and social services. Businesses and nonprofits, both religious and secular, including food banks, when providing food, shelter, and social services and other necessities of life for economically disadvantaged or special populations. individuals who need assistance as a result of this emergency, and people with disabilities. These organizations have a special responsibility to implement social distancing to the fullest extent possible and to take all necessary actions to stop the spread of disease, including stopping in-person retail operations. Media, newspapers, television, radio, and other media services. Gas stations and businesses needed for transportation. Gas stations and auto supply, auto repair, farm equipment, construction equipment, boat repair, and related facilities. In-person retail must follow the guidelines for groceries and retail in paragraph 4. Financial services, depository institutions, including but not limited to banks and credit unions, non-depository institutions, including but not limited to consumer, industrial, and mortgage loan companies, mortgage loan brokers, originators and processors, deferred deposit, check cashers, and payday lending companies, title pledge lenders and money transmitters, security institutions, including but not limited to brokers, agents, advisors, and issuers, appraisers, financial markets, bond issuers, or institutions selling financial products to the extent that they are providing financial services, and pawnbrokers to the extent that they are providing check cashing or similar financial services. Housing, building, and construction. Businesses providing construction or maintenance of residential, commercial, or governmental structures, including but not limited to plumbers, electricians, exterminators, cleaning and janitorial staff, security staff, operating engineers, HVAC, painting, landscaping, moving and relocation services necessary for sustaining the safety, sanitation, and operations of structures. Mail, post, shipping, logistics, delivery, and pickup services. Post offices and other businesses that provide shipping and delivery services, and businesses that ship or deliver groceries, food, beverages, goods, and services to end users through commercial channels. Laundry services, restaurants for consumption off premises, Supplies for life-sustaining businesses, businesses that sell, manufacture, or supply other life-sustaining businesses with the support or materials necessary to operate, including computers, audio and video electronics, household appliances, IT and telecommunication equipment, hardware, paint, flat glass, electrical, plumbing, and heating material, sanitary equipment, personal hygiene products, food additives, ingredients and components, medical and orthopedic equipment, optics and photography equipment, diagnostic food and beverages, chemicals, soaps and detergents, and firearm ammunition suppliers and retailers for the purpose of safety and security. Transportation network providers such as Uber and Lyft, vehicle rental, paratransit, and other private and public commercial transportation. Home-based care for adults, seniors, children, and or people with developmental disabilities, intellectual disabilities, substance use disorders, and or mental illness, and other in-home services, including meal delivery. Professional services include legal services, accounting services, insurance, retail, real estate, including appraisal and title services. Services must first implement telecommunicating and remote to work to the fullest extent possible, and should only use in-person interaction to support minimum basic operations or where telecommunication is impossible. Manufacturing, distribution, and supply chain for critical products. Manufacturing companies, distributors, and supply chain companies producing and supplying critical products and services in and for industries such as pharmaceutical, technology, biotech, healthcare, chemicals and sanitation, waste pickup, disposal, agriculture, food and beverage, transportation, energy, steel, petroleum, construction, communications, as well as other life-sustaining businesses. Hotels and motels, supplies to work from home, supplies for essential business and operation, child care facilities. Item 3 does not prohibit any virtual or telework operations. Item 4, grocery and retailers. All businesses shall comply with social distancing guidelines and to maintain a high level of sanitation and employee hygiene in line with CDC guidance. Furthermore, to prevent mass community spread of COVID-19 in retail and grocery stores, the following guidelines are to be instituted. Allow no more than 20% of stated fire capacity in stores at a time. Require staff to count the number of customers entering and exiting the store and to enforce limits. Clearly mark 6-foot spaces in lines and other high traffic areas, and consider ways to encourage spacing if there are lines outside. posting signage or using ropes to direct customers and to limit bottlenecks, encourage flow in high-density areas of stores, designate employees to monitor social distancing and assist customers, maximize space between customers and employees at checkout, designate employees to ensure the cleaning guidelines set by the CDC. All travel, including but not limited to travel on foot, bicycle, scooter, motorcycle, automobile, or public transit within the city, except for life-sustaining activities, essential government functions, and operation of life-sustaining service businesses is prohibited. People may use public transit only for the purpose of performing any of the above activities. This order allows travel into or out of the city to perform life-sustaining activities, essential government functions, and operation of life-sustaining services businesses. Other essential activities include obtaining necessary services or supplies for themselves and their family or household members, and to deliver those services or supplies to others. Caring for a family member or pet in another household, a medical emergency, and to engage in outdoor activity, provided the individuals comply with social distancing requirements, including but not limited to walking, hiking, fishing, hunting, dog walking, or running, provided, however, that congregating or playing on playgrounds present a unique risk for the spread of COVID-19 and therefore is prohibited. Item 6, all evictions and service of process related to evictions are hereby suspended in the city limits of Jackson. All public and private gatherings of more than 10 people occurring outside a single household or living unit, including churches, are prohibited. Nothing in this order prohibits gathering of members in households. All funerals, celebrations of life, cremation services, and memorial services shall only be attended by close family or less than 10 people per venue in accordance with Governor Lee's executive orders. The Jackson Police Department is authorized to enforce this order, as well as Governor Bill Lee's executive order. The City of Jackson Code Enforcement Division is authorized to enforce this order, as well as Governor Lee's executive order. The mayor or his designee may determine any other business as non-essential for the safety and public health of the city while this local public health emergency continues, and it shall be closed until added to a further order. It's pursuant to TCA Code 58-2-110. The duration of this executive order is limited to 7 days initially and may be extended as necessary in additional 7-day increments. To the extent that this order conflicts with any prior orders, this order shall control. Any businesses previously closed prior to this executive order or the order from Governor of Tennessee, this administration shall remain closed under the terms of this order. I'll answer any questions that you may have.
How is this safe? Can you explain what this safer at home or shelter at home means specifically? Does this mean it takes the place now of the safer at home order?
Yes, the shelter at home order does take the place of the safer at home order, and everything that just read out supersedes any previous order that I have administered.
How would this be enforceable by the police department?
By the police department and our codes department.
Okay, how exactly would the police department enforce that? Does that mean traffic stops, or what does that mean for the police department?
That means if a traffic violation occurs, they will stop the vehicle and then ask where they're going and ask for proof for essential services. Also in this order, limiting the ability for joyriding and for those non-life sustaining businesses. Also limits the temptation for people to go shopping for non-essential, non-life sustaining items.
So this would be similar to what Memphis and Davidson County have issued?
Yes.
Okay, how does this differ essentially from the order that was issued by the governor yesterday?
This is more restrictive on the businesses, reduces the temptation and the opportunity for individuals to go to businesses for non-life sustaining items. It doesn't put the entire burden on law enforcement.
Does this mean that now those drive-through and curbside pickup services that businesses are offering, does that mean that will have to change or stop?
You know which businesses? Talking about restaurants?
Restaurants.
Restaurants, that is still essential. They can drive through and drive up, they cannot go in.
And how would a family go about picking up those curbside to-go drive-through orders?
That would be up to the individual restaurant. They can call those that are providing curbside or providing drop-off or providing drive-through. It's individual restaurants have their method.
Would this be a type of situation where only one person from a household could go, kind of similar to what we recommended with grocery stores?
If they're not getting out of the car, if they're doing a drive-through and they're staying in their car, then the entire family, I don't see a problem with that. But getting out of the car, going into grocery stores with an entire family presents a problem, especially with the capacity limitations set forth on our retail stores.
And we've had the bear hunt that's going on where you can put your kids in the car, go around town, look for bears in people's windows, yards. Would this now limit situations like that?
I would prefer people to stay at home, stay in their yards, stay in their backyards. The more we get around people, the more the temptation is there to stop at a store, to go in for something that's non-essential and non-life sustaining. We're at a point now of our spread, we're at a community spread, and this is more important to save lives than to allow opportunities for people to just drive around leisurely. Yes?
You mentioned about churches. I just wanted to elaborate. So if some churches are doing drive-ins and they just stay in their cars and they just hear the priest on the microphone or sometimes on the radio, would that reinforce that as well?
Yes.
Does that, so meaning they can still go to church?
Yes.
And as long as they're in their car?
Yes.
Why now? I mean, I think you've been in this for a few days. Why did you make the decision today?
You know, for a while we've been piecemealing this, and we've looked to other cities, other counties, and looked to our state leadership to provide that consistent across the board leadership to fight COVID-19. Unfortunately, we haven't seen that, and so now it's time for local leadership to bear that burden and to take control of protect our citizens. Yes, ma'am.
So I know I asked this question earlier, but I don't know if anything changed between if people do need to have something in their car saying, I'm an essential worker, I'm going to an essential business.
If they're a worker, I would recommend that their employer or their small business to outline what their business is, that it falls within the critical infrastructure or life-sustaining businesses, so they can have that just in case.
Yeah. What do you recommend to people who are probably they go to the grocery store to expect? I guess like what you. I think this morning Kim talked about being patient. Do you have anything kind of other words that people?
Yeah, I think be patient. Understand that there's going to be a limitation on the capacity in grocery stores. So if you go at a peak time, there's a lot of people standing in line that you'll have to stand in line and wait. You'll be expected to, by the grocery stores, to practice social distancing, wait your turn and be patient. And then also when you go into the grocery stores, understand that there are people outside waiting. And so it's incumbent upon all of us to get what we need, and then allow other people opportunities to come to the store.
This order also says that evictions are suspended. What guidance are you giving to landlords in regards to eviction of tenants?
Not to evict them. We're in a time now where we have thousands of people being laid off that don't have income right now. They're waiting on their unemployment checks, and so it's a hard time for everybody. We're all in this together. I would recommend they follow the same guidelines that JGA has followed, and give the 2-3 month grace period and then work that out with their tenants. Because I don't believe that with the workforce, the opportunities that are not there now, getting a paycheck is sometimes not an option. And so we have to do what we can to make sure that we're keeping people in our home. That's the number one priority. So we have to make sure they're staying in their home, they're staying safe, and part of that is not evicting them and putting them on the streets.
What should a resident do between now and 12:01 a.m. Sunday should they be evicted?
They're not going to be evicted on the weekend.
But what would you advise a resident to do if they are evicted past Sunday?
Past Sunday?
Yes.
They should not be evicted past Sunday because this order declares they will not be evicted.
You guys, is there like a resource line or something somebody can call if they're having issues with their landlord, or if they like I know what the order says, but if the landlord's not following the order, basically?
They can call our code enforcement office.
At what point do we bring this back up again for the possibility of an extension after 7 days?
6 days. We don't want to let it expire 7 days. So, any other questions for me? I'm going to ask Mayor Harris if he would come up.
Good afternoon. I won't go go over this declaration by the county, other than with some minor changes. It is identical to the city. One thing that I feel like is that we need to be consistent across this community on what we're asking our people to do, and the restrictions that we're putting in place. I do want to read one whereas here to just say the reason for this. A local state of emergency continues in Madison County, for which prudent action is necessary to ensure the health, safety, and welfare of our community. And that is the absolute only reason that we felt compelled we needed to do this. It is, you know, our country has been in a lot of wars through our history, but we always knew who the enemy was. We most of the time knew where they were. But in this fight, in this battle, we know what the enemy is, but we don't know where it is. It may be right here. It may be right here. It may be on you the same way. So do you want to take the risk of infecting your family, a child, your grandmother, or somebody out in the public because you haven't taken the precautions that we're advising through this order? It's just not worth it, folks. It is just not worth it. The restrictions on these stores, Mayor Conger and I yesterday had a conference call with many of the large retailers, Lowe's, Home Depot, Kroger, Walmart, Sam's, to talk about and understand what they are presently doing and what they plan to do. And our Kim Tedford, our health department director, was on that call. We were very encouraged by the proactive way they're going about trying to protect not only their employees, but the public that comes in and shops with them. This does put a little more limitation on that as far as the number of people, and some direction on other businesses that if you are open, you are expected to comply with these directions. And it's not something that we are cavalierly doing, it's something that we feel is absolutely necessary to protect the health of our community. Today, just a couple of minutes ago, I found out our numbers are now updated for Madison County. We now have 22 cases of this virus in our community. It will continue to grow. At least what our guidance is and understanding is that we're looking to at least another probably 3 weeks before we hit our peak. It may be longer, maybe a little shorter, but we haven't even hit the peak yet. I know that our West Tennessee Healthcare and our healthcare providers are making preparations. We've got a wonderful set of physicians and clinics in this community that are looking after people, doing testing and things like that. But the main thing we all can do is stay home. Stay home, observe what you're doing when you are out so that you don't potentially infect yourself, or you don't affect or infect someone else by the things that you do. So it is important. It is a really, I understand, trying time for all of us. I do ask you, our citizens, to be patient. There will be changes. There will be delays. Things won't be as they customarily are. We shut down the courthouse this week. We are taking care of essential business transactions and things that have to be done. But the point is, it's like license plate on cars. That's been extended to June 15th. You don't have to come to the courthouse. But as well, you can do that online. But if you have a transaction, a title, I just talked to a couple today who bought a car from an individual. They needed to make the application of title and get tags. Fred Birmingham's office is making arrangements for that. You call, you make an appointment, you tell them what the issue is, they'll get you taken care of. But if it's just a customary renewal, we're just not doing that right now. There's no need to do that. So I just ask our citizens to be mindful of the situation we're in. It is continuing. We have not reached the peak. There may be new directives next week. I don't know. It just depends on how this thing changes, but it does change day by day. And we ask for your guidance, your patience, as well as your prayers for not only us who's trying to make the decisions, but us as a community, that we can all work together to get through this issue. Anybody have any questions?
Does this mean the county is also issuing a shelter in place?
It's almost identical to the city. Some of the language changes because it's city versus county kind of issue. There are a few minor changes, but guess it's basically the same declaration. Adam?
Is there anything you want to say to people who are maybe, I guess like I asked Mayor kind of earlier about at the stores, but not being patient, some of that and waiting, as the store president, we have 26 capacity, but I'm trying to like.
I'm sorry, Adam, I can't hear you.
Yeah. Is there anything, I asked Mayor Harris a question, but as people have to wait at stores and stuff like that for essential services, or something you want to say to them in terms of staying patient or whatnot?
Well, and that's the point here. I mean, we're used to getting out of our car, going into, flowing into Kroger and going anywhere we want to go in there and whatever our pace is. And that will change, and just understand it's changing. It's changing by necessity. And it's not changing to punish anybody. It's changing to protect the health of our community. And I would say the vast majority of folks in our community are really taking this seriously and abiding. There is a minority that is gathering in groups and things like that. And a part of this order helps give us the ability to break those groups up. It's just not worth it.
We asked Mayor Conger this as well. How will the county be enforcing this shelter-at-home order?
We will be enforcing it under what state laws that are available, but and this filters through the governor's order, it will be enforced as a misdemeanor charge if you are openly disobeying this. Now, we're not going to be stopping people and asking where you're going or anything like that. But just know that ability is there by our law enforcement, and you could pay a price for doing it, and it's just not worth it.
Do you know off the top of your head if that would be a fine to go with that misdemeanor, or how much
I
that's?
think there is a
Class A
fine.
misdemeanor, up to $2,500 fine, 1129 in jail.
Okay, up to $2,500 fine and up to potentially $1129. Okay.
Anybody else?
There are fewer businesses in the county than there are in the city. Is the county doing business checks like the city has been doing, or is it based off a complaint system?
Well, it's based on complaints, but the vast approach we've had is we are expecting and believing that our businesses are complying with this. And believe me, I can tell you that if you're not, somebody's going to be calling our office. And I don't want those calls, because it doesn't take a lot to comply with it. I know that businesses are struggling. I mean, I know that small business, especially in our community, and we're not. I mean, that's why we delay doing some of these things, because there are consequences to every decision we make, and our small business is one of them. I mean, it's our economy is being crushed right now. We don't know what's going to be on the other side. Adam?
Is there any metric you're looking at for when you might rescind this order eventually? Like, I mean, case numbers or drop in cases, stuff like that?
These declarations are, the time frame is 7 days, and we have to it either expires or we renew it every 7 days. That's state law as far as the county is concerned. I'm not sure about the city, but we have to renew it every 7 days.
I guess, is there a metric you're looking for when you won't want to renew it again? I mean, I'm thinking it's something that you're going to renew it a couple times going forward, assuming.
Well, yeah, I mean, Adam, as you're well aware, and all of you are, I mean, we pretty well take our guidance from the health department and our healthcare providers here to tell us what's safe, what's unsafe. One of the things that we were really, and the health department was really concerned on, is the gathering of people within these big box stores, Home Depot, Lowe's, Kroger. So that's a part of the reason to kind of slim that down.
Up until this point, parks in the county have been closed, even though the city has closed parks. This means that will those parks close now, or will they remain open for people to use?
At present, the county parks are still open. Now, there are restrictions on that. All the restrooms are closed. All the playgrounds are closed. There's no kind of any organized sports. As a matter of fact, our parks director, Ed Smith, just got a new direction yesterday. And so there will be no playgrounds. There are walking trails, there are bike trails, there are things like there's lots of things for people to enjoy there. And it doesn't preclude a dad and his father going out and throwing balls on the ballpark, but there's not gonna be any organized games on those fields. But at least at present, as long as our citizens can abide by these guidances, they will stay open. But if we see a propensity for get groups together and more than 10 people around, we will look at closing the parks. But I really don't want to.
I have one question. So like you just said, if citizens don't follow these new rules that, you know, have come in place, do you all think about doing a curfew here in Jackson, Madison County?
Well, I think that's just a day-by-day observation of what's going on and a decision of if we feel like we're not getting the control of this virus and the spread of this virus like we need to, there may be things like that that occur. Yeah.
Would the evictions also fall under the county's
Yes.
shelter in place?
But
What-
that's also, I believe there is some state order or federal order on that as well, if I'm not mistaken.
And would it be the same advice called codes?
Yes. Yep.
And we've gotten calls about this today, and this is my last question. We've gotten calls about this today. TWRA still has their open areas remaining open so long as people maintain that CDC recommendation, 6 feet separation. Can people still go fishing?
They can still go fishing, they can still go hunting, they can do everything they do as long as they abide by these separation guidelines. So that's, and so don't be the people or person or group that messes up this freedom that we have now that could be taken away if the health officials feel like that it's being too, people are getting together too much. There's too much potential there for the spread. Thank you all very much.